In this video, we are going to talk about writing trig equations in terms of sine and cosine. So let's review our transformation form of cosine, which we can see here. So remember that our A value is our amplitude, our B value affects our period. We always do 2 pi divided by B to find the period. Our C value is our phase shift or our horizontal shift. Remember that plus C is left and minus C is right. And then D is our sinusoidal axis. Where Y is equal to D, plus D is up, and minus D means we're moving the graph down. So given some information today, we are going to start writing equations. So in this case, they want us to write a sine equation. So we have Y equals something sine something x, maybe something after x, maybe something after the parenthesis. And so this would be where my A, B, C, and D go. So let's read the information they gave us. So they said my amplitude is 2. Well, I know that my amplitude goes in front, so my 2 would go in front of the sine. I have a vertical shift up 2, so that would be my D value, so up 2 would be plus 2. I have a horizontal shift of right pi, so that would be my C value, and it's going to be a minus C value because minus C is right, so minus pi. And then I have a period of 2 pi. So this is where we're going to use B is equal to the period divided by, 2 pi divided by the period. So my B value in this case is going to be 2 pi divided by 2 pi, which would be 1. So my B value is 1. And so this is what our equation would look like for this first example. All right, go ahead and I want you to pause the video and I want you to try number 2. Now in number 2, you're writing a cosine equation. So it's going to be the same idea, but just instead of sine, we're going to have cosine. But go ahead and see if you can fill in those blanks. Pause the video now. All right, now that you've written this equation for number 2 on your own, let's check to see how you did. So my amplitude is 3, so that would be my A value, so that's going to go in front. I have a vertical shift down 1, so that's my D value, so down 1 would be minus 1 at the end. I have a horizontal shift left 3 pi, so that's plus C, so plus 3 pi. And then I have a period of pi. So B is equal to 2 pi divided by my period. So B is equal to 2 pi divided by pi, so that means my B is going to be 2. And so this is what my equation would look like for number 2. All right, go ahead and I want you to pause the video now and I want you to try number 3 on your own as well. Again, so now we're writing a sine equation again. So something sine, something x, something, something. And so think about what would go in our A, B, C, and D spot for number 3. Give this one a try now. All right, now that you've tried number 3 on your own, let's see how we did. Amplitude of 3, again, this is our A value, so that's going to go in front. A, B, C, D. A sinusoidal axis at y equals -5. Well, again, our sinusoidal axis is our D value, so I would put minus 5 at the end. I have a phase shift of right pi over 2, so right is minus C, so minus pi over 2. And then again, a period of 2 pi, so B equals 2 pi divided by the period, so B is going to equal 2 pi divided by 2 pi, so my B is going to equal 1. And so that is what the equation for number 3 would look like. All right, we're going to try one more of these. So go ahead and pause the video now and try number 4 on your own. All right, now that you've tried number 4 on your own, let's give it a try. So we're writing a cosine equation. So y is equal to, well, my amplitude is 1. So that's my A value. So 1 cosine. Next we have my B value, which is what's affected by my period. So B So 2 pi divided by my period is what b is equal to. So 2 pi divided by pi means my b value is 2. I have a phase shift left pi over 4, so that's plus c, so plus pi over 4. And then my sinusoidal axis would be 0. So that means my d value would be plus 0, but we don't really need to write that. So you could write the plus 0. I'm not going to. I'm going to erase it because we don't usually see plus 0 in our equations. So this is what my equation for number 4 would look like. All right, now let's write an equation from a graph. So before we write an equation from a graph, we need to identify some of the key features like they just gave us in those other examples. So I need to think about what's my amplitude, what's my d value, what's my c value, and then what's my b value. So first we're going to find that sinusoidal axis. So to do that, we are going to do the max plus the min divided by 2. So my max is at 5 in this case. My min is at -1 divided by 2. That means my sinusoidal axis is at y equals 2. So here's my middle. I can see from there that my amplitude is 3 because I'm going up 3 or down 3 from that middle. So my a is going to be 3. And then in this case, I'm writing a sine equation. So sine always starts in the middle, so I can see that I have a sine curve that's going to start at 0, 2 and end at 2 pi. So I can see that not only do I have no phase shift because I'm starting in the middle for sine, and that's where sine's supposed to start, but my b value is going to be 2 pi divided by 2 pi, which is going to be 1, because my period here was 2 pi, because one cycle went from 0 to 2 pi. So let's put this all together and write the equation. So y is going to equal my amplitude, which is 3, sine of my b value, which we said is 1, and then x, no c value, so we're just going to have just x because my c is 0, and then my d is up 2. And so this is what my equation would look like for number 5. In number 6, you are going to do the same thing. Now you're just writing a cosine equation. But go ahead and use this graph and see if you can do this on your own. Give this a try. We'll check it over. So pause the video now and see how you do. All right, in writing a cosine equation, we're going to have y equals a in front of the cosine, then b, then x, maybe a c, and then d. So first we need to find our amplitude. But to find the amplitude, we're actually going to find the sinusoidal axis first. So we're going to do max plus min divided by 2. So my max is at 1 and my min is at -3. So 1 plus -3 divided by 2 means my sinusoidal axis, or my d, is at -1. So I'm going to put that here at the end. So if my sinusoidal axis is at -1, I can then see that the distance to the max is 2 and the distance to the min is 2, meaning my amplitude is 2. Now we're graphing a cosine curve, and a cosine curve always starts at the maximum. So actually, and I can see on the y-axis here, it's starting at the maximum, so one cycle is going from there to 2 pi. And I kind of wrote over that a little bit, so let's erase this a little bit. So I just have one cycle, so I'm actually going to have no c value, no shift here. So I'm going to edit my equation a little bit. We'll do x, and then I said -1, so there's no c value. My d value was -1. All right, so to figure out my b, I can see that one cycle of cosine is going from 0 to pi over 2. So that means my period is pi over 2. So to find my b value is always 2 pi divided by my period. So down a little bit here, we're going to do b equals 2 pi divided by pi over 2. When you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal, or the flip, of that denominator. So then I multiply straight across and I get an answer of 4, because I would get 4 pi over pi, which would give me 4. So that is my b value. So my b value is 4. And so this is what my equation would look like in number 6. If you have any questions on writing equations, please ask. Otherwise, go ahead on to the practice on your own.